It was a total disaster.
The hail was, it was big as baseballs, and he just hammered everything. You in the basement, our house, you really can't never hear anything, but it was so loud you had to scream to hear it to talk. We had some float beds and where we raised our vegetable crops and tobacco, and it riddled those. There wasn't anything left of those. It was a mess for a while.
Oh my goodness, it was devastating because we used to live in that house, and so there's a sentimental attachment. It's not just a rental property. And this huge canopy of tree laying across the roof. Ah, gosh. And, this really old tree that was very beautiful, now gone.
So I stood up, and our room started cracking and just turning sort of counterclockwise, and the bedroom window just crashed through. So I started, hollered at him, and I said, "I'm coming." And I started down the hall, and the washing machine hit me in the side and pushed me out backwards through the wall. And Bob, the paper said that Bob died on impact, but I know he didn't. I know God took him before he hit the ground.
It was so bad you couldn't walk in the yard. I mean, you just about to creel your ankle over it. There was so much hail in the yard. It's so big. We knew pretty quickly our house was tore up pretty badly.
The two-story house the top of it was totally gone. We did not know, still don't know to this day, where the top of the house went.
I called on that Saturday when the tenant called and said the tree is touching the house. I called then, and my husband went over there, and by the time he got there, which was maybe 5 minutes later, the tree had fallen through. So then I called back and said, "Now wait a minute, before I said the house was still livable, but now it's not."
Neighbors and customers who would come into our store at Food Country, and just them crying, and because they didn't have insurance or because of their losses, and they were just devastated, and families that would have to live in tents, and then it was just like a war zone.
Within 3 days that we had an adjuster there, it was just unbelievable how quick they came. Really I wasn't expecting to be there that quick, because the Glade area was in such a worse shape than we were, and I told my agent that there's take care of those folks first, but man, they had enough manpower to take care of everybody, and I've not heard any negative thing about anybody with Farm Bureau.
I was really surprised that it was a Saturday afternoon when I called, and I actually got to speak to somebody in person. And I didn't have to punch a bunch of numbers in order to do that either. They answered right away. So then within a couple of days, the assessor was out there taking a look at everything, and just went through it all and found everything that needed to be repaired. Very attentive. Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, just the tone of his voice lets you know that he's going to take care of you. And just the way that he looked at everything that was the problem now, just let you feel more at peace and know that things would be taken care of. That's the situation that you're in, where you're not feeling that good, and to have somebody come along with the support that you need and you hope to have, and they are there with it, just makes a world of difference.
Yes.
Oh yes, we heard horror stories from some of our neighbors about the response they had from their insurance companies, and many of them still have just tarps on the roofs, and I don't know how they could go to sleep at night. About 2 or 3 days later, with an offer, with a check for the damage, which we gladly accepted.
When you're dealing with home devastation, and you're dealing with such a horrific tragedy, and you're dealing with death, the last thing you need to be dealing with is trying to convince an insurance agency of the personal property you had in your home. I didn't have to go through what we continually hear from everyone else in Glade that said their insurance company said, "Well, you have to do X, Y, and Z." And they said, "Didn't you have to do that?" And I said, "No." And we saw that same care from the insurance adjusters that came to look at the property, that came to look at the vehicles. It was the exact same care and dedication.
Yeah, it was perfect. I would say perfect timing. Very satisfied.
I appreciate my insurance agent, the other insurance that we've been dealing with. You know, I think you need a person behind the scene, you know, that somebody you can talk to or you can call, and you know, and you know, I can call Daryl anytime. I got Daryl's cell phone number. I mean, you know, he give me his cell phone number. If I need him, I call him. It's just so good to be able to you know, to know your agent.
We were very impressed with all the services we had received, and were extremely satisfied. We think Farm Bureau is great.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
You won't ever change
Great.
us again.
As far as customer service in this day and time, it's a thing of the past. And you find someone that has that and holds on to that, they're worth a chunk of gold.